Welcome to Alpha Wolf Capital. I'm Tim, and I want to personally thank you for stopping by. Between the OTC, New York Stock Exchange, and NASDAQ, there are over 22,000 companies traded publicly. I feel that small businesses are the backbone of America. The number one reason for this channel is to help small companies gain exposure with potential consumers, investors, even partners. Take, for example, today's guest. CEO Arjan Haverhals from Milestone Scientific, who has a system that is computer-aided delivery of anesthesia. Imagine being able to love your dentist. Imagine having a better quality of life as a patient and reduced risk as a healthcare provider. Milestone Scientific has a product that can make those things a reality. As you're about to learn from Arjan momentarily, it's important for you to understand that this is not a paid-for promotion. I do not collect compensation for the interviews I do here. I do look for companies that could potentially provide an above-average return on investment, but that is not the primary reason for the channel. There's a thing called impact investing. It's tied to environmental, social, and governance. I think that is a very narrow definition of what impact can be. By helping a small company become a large corporation, if you and I can become ambassadors of a product because the values of that company align with our own, think of all the jobs that will be created as that small company becomes a big company. Think about the community that that company is in. Typically, they thrive along with the company. This channel is to help companies that are relatively unknown become known so that they can build a following and they can have brand ambassadors that share their vision, share their mission, and are willing to do what they can to help have a positive impact on humanity. That's what this channel is all about. This video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. I am not a financial advisor. I recommend highly that before buying any security, you speak to a financial advisor and do your own due diligence. Hey everybody, Tim from Alpha Wolf Trading coming at you with a follow-up update. And it's been too long since we've had our update, and I'm happy to say right before 4th of July here that Arjan has decided to come in and give us an update and talk about some exciting things that are happening at Milestone Scientific. Ticker symbol is MLSS, traded on the American New York Stock Exchange. And Arjan, how you been?
I've been doing good, Tim. Good seeing you, and thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, I like stories that have that I think fill a need, right? And I think this is a product that many people are unaware of and could make people's quality of life better, right? For many things.
Absolutely. And that's exactly why we want to expand our technology and make it accessible for everybody. We would really, our main focus is to improve patient quality of life, improve healthcare, have predictable healthcare at reduced cost, but also always the focus is on the patient and to improve and increase quality of life of the procedures, whether it is a dental procedure or a medical procedure.
All right, so last time, let's just give everybody a quick synopsis of what the product is. What is compuflow?
So compuflow is the name of the medical technology and the medical instrument that we use to place and verify an epidural needle placement in the epidural space. It's the same technology that we use for the dental, which is the other business model. But more importantly, what it does for epidural analgesia during labor and delivery, or for the injection of epidural steroid injection for the treatment of chronic back pain, or any other back pain procedures, potential indications. It is really increasing the efficiency, the safety, the predictability without any side effects. So increasing, let's say, the well-being of the patients when they undergo these treatments. So two main market segments. One is epidural analgesia during labor and delivery, about 2.4 million procedures in the US alone. In addition to epidural steroid injection for the chronic back pain treatment, which is about 9 million. So you talk about 11 million procedures on an annual basis in the United States only, translated to about 30 million procedures worldwide. So the total addressable market, if we only focus and look at it from a US perspective, is 11 million procedures. And we have been able in the past 2 years to increase our accessibility as a result of a number of actions to increase the accessibility of the total addressable market. So that's what we are pretty proud of.
Okay, so to go to the dental portion of it, and then on your website, you've got highlighted for dentists, love your patient, and for patients, love your dentist, right? And the reason that's there is because, and this is something that I didn't know prior to meeting you, was the fact that I could go to the dentist and have a root canal.
Yes.
And walk out of the dentist, not drooling all over myself, and with the ability to drink or eat something right away,
Yes.
right? And not feel any pain in that area that I had the procedure done, right? Instead of my whole mouth being numb, my tongue being swollen, right? I had no clue that existed. And that's essentially what your product does.
No, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head. I think, let me explain to you why we decided to launch a campaign, Love Your Dentist, Love Your Patient, right? It's known that people are hesitant to go to the dentist, or they are afraid, they have fear, they are anxious, either because it's the needle, it's the pain, etc., etc. And historically, I think the company was always focusing on reaching out to the dentist in their communication. But I think, to your point, the only way that you can be successful is that you reach out to the entire community, including the dentist, i.e., more importantly, the patient, because how would patient know about it? So it is all dependent on education and communication, reaching out to the patient community. So in our marketing approach, and particularly in our digital marketing approach, we can, through specific targeted areas, for example, we could focus on all the dentists in New York or Miami or in San Diego, what we're doing. And you reach out with a communication to the dentist and to the patients, where you reach out to the patient by saying, do you know that there is a technology that you can have, a crown and bridge work done, or drilling procedures done without having any pain? Do you know that, does your dentist have that? And here are zip codes, and here are names of dentists in your area where you can go to. For the dentist saying, this technology is available that patients would like to have, because we have that patient feedback. So what you are doing, you bring these two groups together with the ultimate goal that the patient would say to the dentist, I would love you to do my work in my mouth, so to say, but I also would like to have access to that technology. If you are establishing that, you kill in a way two birds in one stone, because you are able to facilitate and to motivate the communication between the dentist and the patients by also increasing the awareness and finally increasing the adoption of the technology. And we have seen cases where either patients are calling our office directly, or where a dentist calls us and says, hey, I would like to have a demo, or I would like to have access to that technology. And guess what? Because my patient asked for it. So we're trying to do in a very cost-effective way to reach out to a broader community instead of just going to the dentist or to a dental specialist. So you're absolutely right in your observation.
So if I'm just thinking out loud here as you're talking, but if you have as a dentist, if you have a machine that helps you pinpoint accurately hit the spot that needs to be hit, don't you save? I mean, what are the benefits to the dentist besides the fact that they're providing a patient a much more comfortable experience?
I think the main benefit is that you get a very satisfied patient. The patient walks out of the door, tells about the experience to his family, to his friends, to his network, right? So, it is, it's almost quote unquote free marketing, right? It differentiates his practice. And at the end of the day, dentists would like to increase their patient acceptance, and they would like to continue their influx of patients, right? So the benefits are no anxiety, no pain, no discomfort for the patient. But having a patient that doesn't show any anxiety or fear will also reduce the anxiety of the dentist, because if the dentist has to treat an anxious patient, it's easier for him if the patient is at ease while he is in the dental chair, right? That's one side. The second advantage, like I said, is the differentiation of his practice. He has the best technologies available, focusing on the optimal delivery of patient care. So caring about your patient in a very defined way, because you want to have the best for the patient. Third, increase patient acceptance, increasing the influx of patients. And then at the end of the day, it will always result that the revenues of the dental clinic from a dental perspective will increase, and i.e. the profitability as well. So I always tell the story. I'm working with a clinic that is in a small town in the United States. On about 5 square miles, there are 17 dental practices. He's the only one that has this technology, and he is the only one that is available, or that is not available for the technology only, but he's the only one that has been able to grow his dental practice year over year by 25%, whereas the others, so to say, stay stable or are struggling to maintain their market position. So there's a ton of opportunities here, right? Now, I do not always want to talk about making the money, because like I said, we are here to improve healthcare outcome and to increase the accessibility, to save comfortable, very effective and predictable technologies and applications. But if that goes hand in hand, there's a benefit for everybody involved into this.
If they have a very precise location, would they use less anesthetic to?
Yeah, so definitely in the studies we can show that there is better utilization of anesthetics. Like, for example, you mentioned root canal. Our technology is spot on for root canal, for endodontists, right? Because sometimes it's very difficult to anesthetize one tooth, and that's what you're doing with our technology. So it's definitely benefit. There is, like I said, in clinical research, there are reports, cases, and documentation available that you have a more effective usage of the local anesthetic. Like we always say, if you do a single tooth, the anesthesia, the anesthetic effect ticks in as little as 1 minute, in as little as 60 seconds. So that means that the dentist can start immediately after a minute or two. He can immediately start the procedure. Whereas today, if you go to a dentist, he will numb, you know, a whole quadrant or a part, and then he will say, okay, I will give you the injection. I will step out for a couple of minutes. You know, if you're still not numb, don't worry. I will give you a second shot. A little bit anecdotal, but that's exactly what you do not want to hear as a patient, right? As a patient, you want to get as soon as possible out of the dental chair. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not, you know, putting the dental professional in a bad spotlight here. Not at all. The only thing that we are asking is, you know, give us the opportunity to assist you to provide a safe and effective and a predictable injection. That's all. Without numbness, without drooling, to your point, after you have received the injection. So absolutely, it's a win-win for everybody. The biggest challenge is that everybody in the world and in the US and every country needs to know that we are existing, that we are there, that there is the technology, and that it's almost a no-brainer not using it.
So let's talk about that for a second. Why it's a no-brainer. So, do you on average know what they charge for? I mean, what is the injection for anesthetic? What would that typically
No,
run?
the injection per se is part of the procedure. Like, for example, if you would get you know, a normal filling or a crown on your tooth, right? You will get an injection. The injection is part of the procedure, and the dentist have to, you know, provide a fee, and the patient pays for the crown and bridge procedure. So it is part of that. I think your question is also related to what is the incremental cost that we would bring, right? Now, the incremental cost is $2, $2.50 per procedure, right? For the consumables, because also what we are doing from a safety point of view, the consumables are individual sterile consumables to be used for each individual patient. And why is that? Our responsibility is also to assist the dentist in creating a safe environment where there is no spread of contamination. In particular, of course, after COVID, you want to, the dentist has to take the responsibility to create a safe environment, and we're helping him by that, because if you have a single sterile component to be used for each individual patient, you secure no contamination for the patient, but you also secure no cross contamination if you move around within their practice. So it is very patient-centered and very patient-focused, right? That's why it is important. Now, the $2.50 is $2.50. Some practices would increase perhaps their fees, but the majority of the clinicians are actually using this technology as a marketing tool. Show that you have the latest technology available for treating your patients. As a matter of fact, we live in a technology era, right? Everything is technical. Everything is on your iPad or on your iPhone. But we are still using the handheld syringe out of 1860, and we still use a manual technology, and we still are dependent on our own skill sets. Everybody knows that it is very difficult to control the flow because the pain is caused by the flow and the injection rate and the pressure that you provide. So why wouldn't we allow to help a computer-controlled injection technology help the dentist and help the patients to have both of them a better experience for the reasons that I alluded on? Why? Why not?
Well, you might put the anesthesiologist out of a job.
Well, that's in the medical, but that's also in the perception, because again, look, the difference between the medical and the dental segment, what we are providing in the dental segment, we use the technology for injecting the drug, right? In the medical segment, we use it for the right needle placement and verification. But we are not saying at all that the current profession of anesthesiologists are not doing the procedures good enough or are doing it in a bad way. Look, these anesthesiologists, they are well educated. They've done it for several years, right? But not everybody is on that same level. And we also know that there are complicated cases and that dura punctures are occurring, causing headaches, causing paralysis, causing, in some cases, mortality. In particular, the higher you get up in the spinal column. We're not saying that they are doing a bad job. We're just saying that we are providing a guidance system on the trajectory of placing an epidural needle in the epidural space. I always compare it with the GPS in your car. You go visit a friend that you haven't seen or he moved to another house. You're not going to, open the book and the atlas and finding out what the routing is. You type it in on your iPhone or you're typing it in on your navigation system and you are on time in the shortest effective way, avoiding the highway or traffic to come to your friend. Well, that's exactly what we are doing. We are providing a highly efficient, safe, predictable methodology to place an epidural needle in the epidural space. My daughter, first born child, 5 attempts. Why? Right? And then you can say, yeah, well, they did it wrong and there are other technologies available. No, just I always say doing labor and delivery, you normally come in the ward and you have to fill out a lot of paper. It should be one of the best and beautiful moments in life for the woman giving birth for her child and her husband being beside her. Right? There are a couple of things in life that we will always remember is the day you get married or the day you get your first child born for families that are raising kids, right? Why wouldn't we be able to be given the opportunity to make that experience even better and more beautiful? And then, of course, it's understandable because that is in labor and delivery, and we have to be understandable for the challenges in these departments and in the hospitals and the decision-making process. I all get that, right? But again, we are not saying that the medical profession is doing a bad job. And I think that's very important for me to reiterate. We're just saying, we have a technology available that might take away the stress, that might be better in terms of targeting, and it might be more effective and it is higher predictable. Let us be part of your routine procedures. It's the same why we were entered into chronic back pain, because it's the same procedure, the same injection that you need to do. Now, in our current healthcare system, it is not sufficient and not enough to be safer or more efficient, more predictable, increase comfort. We have to respect the rules in our healthcare system, and that is reimbursement, right? Because if clinicians or healthcare providers and patients do not have coverage, are not going to be paid for these procedures, then it is very difficult to introduce a new technology. But again, as a small company, we made tremendous inroads into that phenomenon of reimbursement as well.
Okay. So what do you have going on today? Where are you? I mean, the last time that we had met, you were in the process of it was kind of exploratory with the spinal, and they were looking at, you were looking at potentially getting what was it, a C mark for coverage or I can't remember exactly what it was.
CPT code. So let me explain it a little bit. I think for everybody, it's important to understand that in the beginning of 2023, we got a a CPT code by the American Medical Association for the technology, entitled a pressure sensor, a sensing guidance system for epidural analgesia, right? Now, that means that from that moment on, as of the 1st of January, clinicians are allowed to use the technology, but more importantly, are allowed to send in their billing and billing and coding documentation, submit that to payers, to healthcare providers, Medicare, private payers, motor vehicle insurance companies, right? Now, we started by lining up the first clinics that are helping us in that whole procedure in April last year. So we are now 1 year and 3 months further. We have submitted, although the clinicians have submitted around 160 plus cases. We shared in the beginning of the year the feedback of the first 100 cases, where a third of these cases have been paid, of which 50% were private payers, and the rest was followed by motor vehicle insurance providers and some Medicare cases. Now, what is important is that, you know, state to state differences, nationwide differences, right? And now it becomes a little bit technical, but there are 12 jurisdictions in the United States that are covering the 50 states. So for Medicare, so it means that you need to have clinician in each jurisdiction sending in cases, get feedback from the providers, you get denials, you appeal, you deny, get a denial, you have to appeal. But at a certain moment, there is an opportunity that the healthcare providers will pick up when they upload the code in their system, and they would request additional information prior to them taking a position what they would like to pay for these procedures. Now, rules of engagement are the following. We are not entitled to have any direct communication with the healthcare insurance providers. The clinicians have. We are not entitled to talk about pricing or whatsoever. The insurance providers and the clinicians will know that. But at a certain moment, that when and if one of these jurisdictions would come with a ruling stating what the price will be, it will become known within the professional community that if they would use this technology, there will be a payment of X in addition to already an existing code, right? Now, I cannot influence that process. I can only respect that process, what we always do. But I do know that we have made significant progress in that process, and that we are getting closer to get feedback of some of the jurisdictions that we are in. We are currently in 7 out of the 12, but I think, you know, the earlier jurisdictions that we have been engaged with will probably give us a response earlier. And I'm convinced that we will get that feedback in the not foreseeable future, short term, midterm, not midterm, long term. I don't expect that's going to take months or months or months, but I cannot influence it other than being 100% professional, supporting the clinicians, supporting the patients, supporting the insurance providers with every information that they would like to have about our technology. Because in this respect, it's all about safety. For the Medicare patients, with all due respect, it's more the elderly population. The elderly population, the anatomy changes, where our technology comes even more in place from a safety point of view. And that's what we call the medical necessity, right?
Yeah.
But I cannot interfere with their decision-making process. And all of these factors that I just mentioned, what we have been doing as a small organization in the last year, 16 months, I'm extremely proud of what we have been doing. We changed our go-to-market for the dental business, increased our margins, reduced our net loss of operating income, increased the profitability of the dental business as a standalone basis. We still have sufficient cash and cash equivalents at hand. We don't have debts. We do have revenues. In the medical business, we changed our marketing approach. We have progressed in the reimbursement progress. We do anticipate any feedback of the healthcare providers. Yes, we are still in the small cap market and the micro cap market, which is under a gigantic pressure. But I would say to everybody that is going to listen to this interview is, the only thing that we can do is being patient and having trust and believe in the things that we are doing and executing on the strategy that I have spelled out since the beginning I become on board. We are not going to overpromise and underdeliver. The things that we have in our hand, we execute on it. And, we have to wait until we get the facts on the table. But I want to ensure us all that we are doing whatever we can to execute our strategy in a very professional way and not overpromise and underdeliver.
So Arjan, you didn't take this job just to like come in and blow the company up.
Did I understand your question correctly? Of course not. No, I think no. I think, look, what I always say, if you look at our stock, right, it's trailing today. I think before we started our discussion, it was 65 cents. It has been 80, but it's look, 2 weeks ago, and we're doing whatever we can. We're not sitting still. I'm not sitting in my traffic tower and see what happens in the market. I'm out. I'm in the field. I'm traveling. We announced 10 days ago, the Brazilian release, which is gigantic, as one of the largest markets in Latin America, where we got regulatory approval. And of course, behind the scenes, we are working with the right partners to reach a deal, right, or to reach an agreement, without going into detail who they are going to be. But the Brazilian market is in dentistry even potentially larger than the US market. In medical, it's perhaps half of what we have in the US market, but you do not have the same mechanisms on reimbursement coding and that sort of things that we have in the US. My point is just, when we come out with that news, stock traded at 84 cents, 30 minutes later it goes down. So yes, we continuously want to, and we will come out with releases and additional news about our technology, etc. But it's not only in our hands. There is a market outside, yes. Even if we come with releases, the market doesn't always pick it up. So that means that we need to have a new pool and new investors that believes in the story and are willing to invest together with us to change, the dental and medical administration of epidural analgesia and analgesia in general. We need to have those believers into it, and I'm convinced that we will get there, because that's what we are striving for, right?
So, if I recall correctly, we're not talking that your technology, your equipment is not. It's not some ridiculously high-priced piece of equipment. It's not going to cost a dentist an arm and a leg to get your equipment into their office, right?
Absolutely. The dental equipment is, we're not talking about 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 where you need lease financing. On average, our average selling price is in the range of $2,500 roughly. The consumables are $2.50, $3 per patient procedure, right? And of course, we will help the dentist, and we have promos. We do whatever we can to lower that threshold from an investment point of view. But to your point, it's not an
you're telling me this number, and I'm just thinking about because I just went to the dentist and I'm looking at an implant, and it's I want to say it was $3,800, right? I mean, that's more than your machine. So that, it's not the prices that you pay at the dentist, especially as you get older. It seems like your insurance covers less and less, and the
Yeah,
stuff that you want, right, is just incredibly. It's not cheap. So, to me, hearing you say it's a $2,500 machine, that's nothing, right? That is absolutely nothing. And if it makes your customer more comfortable, better experience, quality of life thing, there's no question. You get them, you get it, right? That's how I see it.
absolutely, absolutely. You're absolutely right. I think if we do our own calculations and helping the dentist, I think 12 to 15 patients doing our procedures, you're out of your direct cost, right? So you break even. But I think, and I understand it, right? I think at the end of the day, it's also change management and a change of mindset. The question is always, why should I change my behavior for things that I know that I'm good at, that I'm skilled at, and I've been successful with? I think the challenge is, and that's what I always invite dentists and medical professionals to do. Even I can believe that I'm doing a fantastic job, but it's not always perceived that I'm doing a fantastic job. And you have to ask the people that are on the receiving end, right? I can tell you an anecdote with my own dentist. I said to him, I've been in your dental chair now for 10, 15 minutes. And I said, he said, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm the CEO of a healthcare company and we have this. I said, why don't you try it? He said, no, no, no. I think that I'm doing a very good job in injecting a local anesthetic. And I said to him, rather cynically, I said, that's what everybody tells me. He said, yes. And then he started laughing. I said, he said, why do you say that? I said, well, my reply to you would be, I've been 15 minutes in your chair and you haven't asked me one single time how I am or what I felt about the injection. And I would know what I feel. So you see, it is, and I understand it. The practice is busy, the patient's in, each patient is different. But we're looking for, and that is also the current generation of dentists coming in, we're looking for the dentists that are open-minded, that are able, that are willing to embrace the new technology. Again, very important. We're not saying that everybody is doing a lousy job, not at all. But just be open, be receptive of new technologies. If we do it in our daily life, why don't we do it in our profession?
It's funny that you say that because it's not just the dental industry. It's there are so many small companies out there that are tackling, I would call, big problems. They have solutions that for problems that cost, just off the top of my head, one company cost the country about 50 billion annually. And the reality is that this happens to be for the construction industry. Construction industry is 50th in terms of adopting technology. They're just not tech guys, right? I mean, they're craftsmen, they're good old boys. I mean, they're not open to tech. And tech can make quality of life so much better, can make job sites safer immediately, make us more efficient. This is just one example. So you've got medical, construction. It doesn't matter. We are, for whatever reason, very slow to adopt the things that can make our lives better. I'm guilty of it myself. I have been guilty of it. I mean, I held on to a BlackBerry for as long as, I mean, I was probably one of the last people on the planet to switch from a BlackBerry
Yeah.
to it, right? I mean, that's just how people are sometimes. Is if it's working, if it ain't broke, why fix it? Right? Maybe so you just don't realize how if it can be better, what are the dividends that pay off from it being better? Right? What are those dividends that you're not thinking about? I mean, nobody's perfect, right? Everybody can improve. I mean, that's the whole thing. We should be looking for ways to improve processes and safety and efficiency across all portions of our life, right? What is my goal every day is to be a little bit better than I was the day before, right? Maybe a little smarter, a little better.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, you're absolutely right. At the end of the day, we are all human beings, and we need to find that right trigger that we are willing to change or willing to adapt, right? And there are other industries, you know, there are other developments, technology and technological developments that have taken a longer time to adapt to. You're absolutely right. At the end of the day, for us, the whole purpose is that, you know, we bring a disruptive technology, so we also have to be disruptive in our marketing approach, right? And that's the reason why we have taken the steps and taken the decisions that I alluded on earlier during this call. But at the end of the day, my ultimate goal is that we do this together with the dental professionals, that we do this together with the patients, that we do this together with the medical societies and the medical professionals, right? You know, together you're stronger than an individual. Like I always say, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go further, you go together. It's very simple. And we need the people that would like to do that together with me or with us.
Yep, I love that saying actually. That's very appropriate. Let me add the for the medical portion, do you have key opinion leaders, KOLs that can come out or have come out, or are there key opinion leaders that could get behind your product?
Absolutely. And that's already what's happening. You know, we have a number of hospitals. We have made good inroads with a major hospital in Texas, where they use our technology for spinal cord stimulator procedures. We work with a renowned hospital or pain center, apologies, in New Jersey. We work with numerous pain centers in the US as part of the project. So we are getting that traction, but you know, it can always be more. On top of that, you know, we have a member on our board that is very well known in interventional pain management, Dr. De Mesman. So yes, we are building that platform. Look, it's not that this is a company that is sitting and waiting and is rolling their thumb and hope from one day some news is coming. There's so many activities, actions, initiatives that we are on the take that will take us another hour to discuss that. For example, we can do that the next time. That is happening as we speak, right? What I'm doing here is just explaining what it means for the community, what it means for the patient, what it means for the dentist, or what it means for everybody that is involved in healthcare. And why we are so strongly believing and that we are going to be successful, because that is our mission. Our mission is to take drug delivery out of the 1900s to the 21st century, right? Our purpose is to improve quality of life at reduced cost or healthcare outcomes. But at the end of the day, what drives us every day is to improve the quality of life in patients and to be able, with a lot of other companies, to just create a better world.
Arjan, that's why I love you, man. You know, I mean, I can tell you're passionate about what you do. It hasn't been the easy. You've had a couple of setbacks. It has not been the easiest path, but you're not giving up. You're a fighter, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I love that about you. So, uh, let me, just for housekeeping, how many shares do you have outstanding, fully diluted?
I think right now, probably about 78 million, 76, 78 million. I can give you the exact number, about that.
Okay, still under 100 million.
Yes.
Anything under 100 million, I consider to be, uh, I would consider that to be a small float or small amount of shares outstanding. Uh, so what do you see as potential catalysts, in the near future?
Yeah, there are a number of catalysts. First of all, reimbursement, any ruling that whatever the decision is going to be, or what the feedback is going to be, that will be a growth catalyst. Absolutely. Not only I would say it will drive potentially, and hopefully it will drive the stock, but it will give us tremendous opportunity for commercialization and testing the commercialization and the rollout. It will give us a more than a better opportunity to be engaged with other companies to look into strategic cooperations, everything from synergistic cooperations in terms of sharing sales forces or doing a joint research and development or setting up joint ventures, whatever, it's the whole scale. Because like I always say, our company, or to believe that we can do everything on our own, that's just utopia. That's a fairy tale, right? Let's be realistic. But reimbursement is so important for the company and the shareholders to go then into that next step and enter that next phase of commercialization, potential strategic partnership, rollouts, adoption, utilization, you name it. The second, what we are still working on, and again, where we are in direct contact with, is the government, the federal supply schedule approval. That gives us also another opportunity through a third party to engage with the VA, the government, the DoD, the Indian Health Services. Those are magnificent, let's say, magnificent steps moving forward. And then thirdly is really international expansion in Latin America, also in the European markets, both on medical and dental. And I think those are key drivers for growth. In addition, that we are working on the next generation for a dental device to introduce that and launch that, to make that more high tech, more state of the art. So there are four growth drivers that would definitely bring the company forward. But what sticks out here is really reimbursement and government approval.
Okay. You mentioned earlier, no debt,
No doubt.
which let's say that's music to my ears, right?
Yes.
Last quarter, how'd you do?
So the first quarter, I cannot allude on the second quarter because we're in the midst of finalizing that. But if you look at the last quarter, we had decent revenues of 2.2 million. We had a margin improvement of 72.7% to 74.5%. We continue to reduce the net loss of operating income. We continue to be standalone. So the most important part there is that our direct portal in the United States grew by 31%. We had about roughly, I think, 900,000 in the first quarter last year. Now we were at 1.2, 1.3 million. So that's definitely working, and we have to keep that momentum, right? You have to keep pushing. So those were the highlights. Again, the dental business is our bread and butter. We can use the money to invest in the medical business. We continue to prepare a controlled launch of the medical business upon the receipt of feedback on our reimbursement, like I said, when that comes. and then catching up. The medical business is really, what the investors have invested in the company, right? 4 or 5 years ago. I do believe that we are in a very good spot. I do believe that the company is healthy. We have also internally have the right talent. We made the finalization of the organizational changes. We have done a lot of things. We have delisted the company on the Polish Stock Exchange. So we have also increased efficiencies for our organization and tasks and work ethics, etc. So yeah, there are only 36 hours in a day, so we do whatever we can to clean up, to make improvements, increase efficiencies, and continue to doing the right things right.
Let me ask you a question. Artificial intelligence, would that play ever any role in your product?
No, absolutely, because artificial intelligence under that umbrella or that statement that allowed us to get the temporary code for the CPT code under the American Medical Association, because it is in a way artificial intelligence supported the diagnostic technology, if I remember the definition quite well, where you have data gathering of a procedure, but the clinician still has to make his final decision based on the data that he receives and that he has to study. So no, absolutely, that was what triggered it by the American Medical Association to get the reimbursement, temporary reimbursement code for our technology, in addition to the epidural steroid injection code. Yeah.
Okay. That was just. How are you on cash, Arjan? The biggest thing is.
Yeah, by the end of the quarter, we had a little bit north of $5 million cash and cash equivalents and market securities at hand. So we're good. Yeah.
Don't need to raise capital.
We don't want to raise capital this year, no.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Do you feel as though I missed anything, Arjan?
No, I always thank you for the opportunity. My role is really to continuously communicate and explain what we are doing, and hopefully we get more people engaged and excited about our company, and that's what we are doing here.
Okay, Arjan, is a pleasure. Let's make sure that we don't have this big of a gap between our next update.
That would be great.
Okay, hold on 1 second. I'm going to turn this off.
Thank you for your time, Tim.
You bet. Have a happy 4th.
You too.
Thank you for tuning in to another CEO interview here at Alpha Wolf Capital. Today we had Arjan Haverhals from Milestone Scientific, ticker symbol MLSS. I hope you enjoyed today's interview, and if you did, do us a favor, give us a like. How about giving us a share? And while you're at it, make sure you smash that subscribe button. All of those things are extremely important to us here at Alpha Wolf Capital, and we appreciate you taking the time to do that. Until next time, stay safe. Alpha Wolf Capital wishes you the very best of success.